Welcome back to another episode of the Ark Switch Survival Guide. Today we are going to teach you all about the Therizinosaurus, which is one of the weirdest and most useful dinosaurs on Ark. The Therizinosaurus is often referred to as the tickle chicken because it loves to tickle people with its 3-foot-long razor-sharp claws. Most people don't survive this tickling. But the Therizinosaurus is actually a gathering expert, and it's extremely versatile. It can gather tons of berries in a very short amount of time, and it is also the #1 most efficient way to gather fiber in the entire game. It's also an expert in collecting things like hide, prime meat, chitin, keratin, and all kinds of other resources, and it can harvest wood and thatch almost as effectively, maybe more effectively than a beaver. So it's a really versatile and useful dinosaur. Also, even though a Therizinosaurus looks cute and cuddly and it only eats berries, it is actually more dangerous than most carnivores, and it has a very short temper. It moves really fast and it can rip you to shreds with those claws in no time. It's actually as dangerous as a Carnotaur and even sometimes a T-Rex. So these things mean business and they are bad news. But we are going to flirt with death and see if we can tame a Therizinosaurus using our frog, which is no easy task. So if nothing else, that should be very entertaining to see if we survive this with our frog intact. We are also going to teach you a totally safe trick that you can use to tame a Therizinosaurus without putting yourself in any danger whatsoever. And we are going to teach you everything you need to know about a Therizinosaurus, how to ride it, how to use all of its different special attacks, where to find your own Therizinosaurus on the island, and how to specialize it to make it even more effective at gathering specific things, or how to raise a Therizinosaurus army that lives only on berries. So be sure to watch this whole episode. It will be a lot longer because there's so much to show you, but we'll put timestamps in the description of this video so you can use those to jump straight to whatever you're interested in this video. But I highly recommend watching the whole video because there is so much good information that will help you so much in your Ark adventures. Now, before we get started taming a Therizinosaurus, we actually have to find one, and that can be a little bit tricky. Now, these are all of the locations on the island where Therizinosaurus can spawn, and as you can see, they're all orange squares, which means they're pretty rare to be in any of these locations. But right here at 8050 is where my main base location is up here on this plateau, and right across the river is Metal Mountain, and I've actually seen several Therizinosaurus from time to time spawning up here. Now I usually leave them alone because they put up quite a fight, they're very hard to tame, it takes a lot of narcotics to keep them unconscious, but definitely wherever you are, just keep an eye out for them, and when you see one you can decide if you're feeling lucky and brave enough to give it a shot and try to tame one. Now, when I took my frog out for a joyride around Metal Mountain, I ran into a female Therizinosaurus and stayed away from it at the time, but now that I have a huge dinosaur taming pen that I just built, I wanted to see if she's still there, and sure enough, I've got a level 12 female Therizinosaurus just across the river, just hanging around Metal Mountain. Now, I've got a whole bunch of eggs that I can use for different kibbles, and my ankylosaurs and tapeharas are laying lots of eggs that I'll be able to use. But I really want to make exceptional kibbles soon, and I need a large egg for that, and female Therizinosaurus lay those large eggs, which is great. They're one of the easiest ways to get that. So I'm going to try to tame her with a frog, but first I'm going to level him up and give him a bunch of health, because it's going to be really dangerous what I'm about to try. Now, I'm going to actually give him a nickname and name him Gamma Bunta, which is actually from the anime Naruto. He is a giant frog, which is kind of similar colors. So that was a name suggested by Agent 47. Thanks for that suggestion. I love it. So anytime you guys have a good suggestion for names for any of my dinosaurs, feel free to drop a comment, and I am slowly naming all of my dinos based on your suggestions. So in the last episode, we built this crazy huge dinosaur taming pen, which I'm going to be able to use to tame just about anything. But the best, most effective way to tame a Therizinosaurus without dying is to use a taming pen. Now you want to build it out of stone because they'll actually rip something that's wood to shreds, and thatch just won't even, it's not even worth trying. But what I'm going to do here is, first of all, try to get my frog to eat some meat so he'll recover some health. He's got a max of like 4,000 HP, but he's only at about 1,600 right now because I just leveled him up and increased his maximum health. So hopefully this will be enough for now. I'm going to rely on my frog's ability to run away really quickly, and hopefully that'll be enough to keep me alive. Now, I don't usually do stuff this risky. Normally, I would use a flyer, but I thought it'd be a little more fun to just try out this frog, and hopefully I will not regret it. So, here we go. I went ahead and opened up the dino taming pen just to make sure that the door is open and ready, because as soon as this Therizinosaurus notices me, it is going to be chasing me with a vengeance. And of course, there's another Tapehara up there, but I've got enough Tapeharas already. Okay, now, usually these things come after you pretty fast, but he doesn't seem to notice me. There he goes. Oh, nope. Okay, running away, running away. This is, whoa, gosh, that thing is bad news. Oh man, he hit me there. That did a lot of damage. I am down to a very small amount of health. So let's see if he's still behind me. Oh my gosh, yes, he is. Okay. Yeah, these things are crazy fast. I'm going to see if I can use these boulders to get him a little bit stuck and get a bit more headway. Now, if you are attacking a Therizinosaurus and trying to tame it, you got to give yourself a lot of space to run because they will chase you a very long way. It looks like he's losing interest finally, but they are very fast. They'll surprise you with how fast and how aggressive they are. Now, they are kind of nearsighted. You can see here he's just totally ignoring me now because I'm not that close to him. But they'll attack you from pretty close distance, but once they see you, you are toast if you can't get out of there really fast. So he seems to be kind of wandering this way a little bit, and I want to give him plenty of space. Now my frog is up to about 1/3 of his health again, and I might be okay, but just in case, I think I'm going to give this guy, oh gosh, he's getting close, okay. I'm just going to jump across this river here. Now, Therizinosaurs don't swim super fast, so we may be okay. Now, I'm going to hedge my bets and use a trank arrow because I do not want this thing getting too close to me. He can rip me up pretty fast, and in a matter of seconds, he could probably take down my frog. So let's see if I can hit this guy. Okay, yep, he's coming, he's coming. Okay, time to run. Now I'm going to try to lead him in a straight line all the way up here into this taming pen. I don't want to get too far away, but they've got a pretty good aggro range. Yep, he's still coming. Oh man, okay. I'm going to try to jump over his head and see if I can close these doors back behind me. So here we go, and oh no, he's getting out. Okay, I'm going to have to run. Yeah, this is not going to work with this frog. Oh gosh, oh gosh. Okay, trying to get over the wall. Ooh, this is close. This is close. Okay, that's one of the nice things about a frog. I could have totally died right there, but I'm able to use this this jumping ability to get away from this Therizinosaur, and hopefully that'll be far enough away. Nope, he's still chasing me. Oh my gosh, this guy is crazy. Whew, that was close. Now, I think, yeah, I've lost his interest, and thankfully he's not going to aggro me from too far away, I don't think. That's the only good thing about Therizinosaurus is they do have relatively short aggro range, so usually you won't tick them off unless you get reasonably close. But I tell you what, never risk it with the Therizinosaurus, because if they come after you, you are pretty much toast. Now, I'm running low on meat. I'm trying to force feed my frog so he'll recover some health, but he is very low on health, and even though I gave him a ton of HP, he is still somewhat close to death, and I'm really debating whether I want to risk the life of my frog at this point just to show you guys something cool, because, I mean, it would be pretty cool if we pulled this off, but this guy is crazy dangerous, and I think at this point, rather than waiting for my frog to get all of his health back, I'm just going to bring him back up to my base where he's nice and safe, and we're going to do a different technique here. So normally I will not even go on the ground near a Therizinosaurus because they are so deadly. So I'm going to show you what I would normally do to tame a Therizinosaurus, and we'll see if we can bring our frog back into this in a little bit. So I'm bringing my Tapehara now, and because he can fly, I can easily escape the Therizinosaurus if I need to, but this guy will be really easy and ideal for maneuvering around, and there we go. Now he's really mad, and let's see if we can get him straight into this taming pen. Now my normal technique for taming dinos using this taming pen will be to get them into the pen like this, fly up, and then slam the door shut behind them, and this seems to be working pretty darn well. Now, whoa gosh, that was horrifying. Whew, okay. Now this Therizinosaur is now trapped inside this huge taming pen, and we should be in really good shape now. We'll have a real easy time taming him. Now in the next couple episodes, I'll probably show you how to make a remote keypad, which allows you to lock the door from up on top of the cliff where it's nice and safe, and I'm pretty sure I'll be doing that pretty soon. So this frog is still pretty low on health, but I do want to use him to do a little bit of the tranquilizing. But for now, let me go ahead and put this here, and I'm going to make some more trank arrows. Hey! Got some Tapehara eggs that just showed up. That's always great. I love having my Tapeharas on the roof just laying eggs constantly. Now, a couple episodes ago, we showed you how to use a Brontosaurus to harvest massive amounts of berries, and we got like 600 or 700 narco berries that way. And, whoa, a Tapehara's just pooped on me. That's the downside to what I've got set up, is sometimes you open your door and you're like, hey, it's a beautiful day, and then your dino poops on your head, so you know, it's just an occupational hazard when you've got pteranodons. So I'm going to bring my frog back over here and leave him safely on top of this cliff. So we've got this deadly Therizinosaur pit now, and he is just going to chill out down there inside this pen, and hopefully we can just safely shoot him down from up on this cliff. Now it's a really ideal spot because even though this area is somewhat vulnerable to wild dinos, I can also shoot down on it from the other cliff, which is actually inside my base perimeter. But from here, we're about 3 stories above his head, and as long as I'm really careful not to get too close to the edge here, I can just shoot down on this guy and he can't really do anything to me. Great, and he's already starting to run. This is why I wanted a low-level Therizinosaurus, because taming a high-level one is crazy hard. So now that he's running away, I'm going to see if I can use my frog to finish tranquilizing it. So if I use the right trigger, it'll use its tongue attack, and I can do it twice, which has some decent range, and that'll stack 2 stacks of tranquilizing effect, which last about 10 seconds. Then I can use the left trigger to stack a 3rd stack onto it. So I'm just going to keep these tranquilizing effects up. Oh gosh, it's already coming after me again. Not cool, not cool. Okay, running away. Gotta get away from this guy fast. Oh gosh, I'm almost stuck. I better not get stuck here. Okay, gotta get over the wall because this guy is going to kill me. Oh my gosh, okay. Almost lost my frog again. Yeah, I really should have left him out of this until he got all of his health back. Alright, well that was horrifying, right? You all still with me? Nobody freaked out? Okay, cool. So, that was fun. I think I'm going to finish tranquilizing this guy from the safety of this cliff, because that was really bad. So now you all believe me when I say you should never try to tame even a low-level Therizinosaurus unless you can trap it somehow, especially in a taming pen. But you want to be at least 3 stories high above it in complete safety if you're actually going to try to tame one of these guys, because you cannot outrun it and they will destroy you. So you can technically immobilize them using a giant bear trap or a chain bola fired from a ballista turret, but it only incapacitates it for about 15 seconds, and that's not anywhere near enough time to knock out even a level 1 Therizinosaurus. Okay, we got it down. So that took quite a while to knock that guy out, and that's just a level 12. So imagine trying to knock out a really high level Therizinosaur. It is not pretty. And that is why I always tame a Therizinosaurus using some kind of trap or taming pen. Now if you want to see a really easy taming trap that you can make, check out the link in the description for how I tamed my tech Velociraptor, and it was really easy. You can build a trap just like that, only make sure it's 2 foundations by 2 foundations wide and at least 2 stories high, and that will be enough to trap a Therizinosaurus. I'm also going to drop a link in the description for how I built my taming pen on a raft, and using that design you can pretty easily tame and trap a Therizinosaurus also. That's actually how I tamed one on my Ragnarok series. I just lured it into my taming pen on the raft and trapped it that way. Now as you can see, this guy's already gone down about 20% on his unconscious bar. These things wake up crazy fast and they are really hard to keep unconscious. So try to have at least like 300 narcotics on hand if you're going to try to tame a Therizinosaurus. You're gonna need them, and you do not want to run out in the middle of the tame. It's also a good idea to stay really close to them because they will wake up in a couple of minutes if you leave them unattended. So it's a good idea to stay close by and just keep harvesting narco berries as fast as you can while you're taming them. Now their preferred food is exceptional kibble, and I don't have any of that. I'm actually using this Therizinosaurus to try to get the eggs that I'm going to be using for that kibble. But the next best thing is any vegetable, so corn, potatoes, carrots, or lemons, and I had the most lemons. They also like mejo berries after that, and then regular berries after that, but it's going to be such a slow tame with regular berries, it's hardly worth it. Now I'm going to use a whole bunch of narcotics to get this guy's unconscious bar all the way back up, and then we'll skip ahead a little bit because I'm just going to stay really close to this guy and keep him unconscious while he is slowly taming up over a long period of time. Now, normally when I'm taming dinos, I will actually run around and do some other stuff. Oftentimes I'll tame a second dinosaur at the same time while I'm waiting, because I like to be a lot more efficient, but with this Therizinosaurus, it is waking up so quickly that I really need to stay right here at the base, and I can't leave it alone for very long at all. Otherwise it'll just wake up. So I've just had to keep using... There we go! It is finally tamed up. This took a really long time. Now I'm going to name her Tickles because she loves to tickle things, very deadly tickles on this side. Now this Therizinosaurus kind of reminds me of Big Bird from Sesame Street. I think I may actually paint her bright yellow. That'll be fun. We'll save that for another episode. But check that thing out. Is that not the weirdest looking dino? It is like a Tyrannosaur mixed with a chicken, mixed with Wolverine from X-Men. I mean, this is one crazy dino. So let me get all this stuff back off of its inventory. And I had to make a couple hundred more narcotics while we were taming this guy just to make sure that I had enough. So we finally got her tamed up, and she is pretty strong even here at level, I guess she made it to 17. Now let me show you one interesting thing about a Therizinosaurus. If you park it next to a tree and I tell her to stop following me, she will automatically harvest that tree. And you can set her on wander and she'll just wander around harvesting bushes and trees. And look at all that wood. We got almost 100 wood from one tree. And she's not even specialized. Now, if you hold down the X button, you can actually specialize some points into additional delicate harvesting or additional power harvesting. Now, each time she levels up, she'll be able to increase those stats, and the more delicate harvesting she gets, the more effectively she can harvest bushes for fiber and berries, and the more power harvesting you give a Therizinosaurus, the better you can get wood and thatch from trees. You also increase its ability to get things like chitin, keratin, hide, prime meat, things like that. Now, when she's on water, wander, she will still collect bushes, but she won't put anything into her inventory, so she basically just destroys the bushes and they're gone. So be careful where your Therizinosaur is parked. Also remember that even though a Therizinosaurus can get about as much wood and thatch as a beaver, it does not have any weight reduction, whereas the beaver reduces the weight by 75%. So your Therizinosaurus will get overweight really quickly when gathering supplies. Now, even without a saddle, which you can only make at level 69, a Therizinosaurus is still really helpful for harvesting wood, but we'll be right back in a second, and we'll make a saddle for this Therizinosaurus and show you some of the cool gathering tricks you can do with it, and how to use all of its moves. And we're back. I went back up to my base so that I could craft the Therizinosaurus saddle, which will allow us to actually ride this guy. And you can unlock that at level 69, so it's a pretty high level dinosaur, but once you actually take one out into the field, you'll see why. It is a really good tame. Now, I forgot for a second, but pretty much any time you have a saddle that requires metal as one of its materials, you have to craft that in the smithy. So I'm going to come over here to the saddles folder, and there's our Therizinosaurus saddle right here in the smithy. Now it requires a whole lot of fiber, hide, metal, and wood, and I think I've got some hide on my Argent, so I'm going to run outside real quick and pick that up. And of course we are picking up all the snail poop that just drops down right in front of our base. Looks like we had a little bit of hide on the frog too, and let's see what we've got on the Argent. Ah, perfect. Okay, we've got plenty of hide, so that's going to work out really nicely. And I actually did not realize he had some chitin too. So let me feed this frog before I forget and he starves to death. So yeah, we should be in good shape now. So we'll come back inside because it's raining and go ahead and actually craft this Therizinosaurus saddle. Now, even though you have to be a very high level to ride a Therizinosaurus, on some maps like Ragnarok, it can be pretty hard to get your hands on a beaver, and I actually tamed a Therizinosaurus at a very low level on my Ragnarok series, and I just used him without a saddle to gather most of the wood that I used for a very long time. It actually wasn't until I took my Parasaur tank all the way through the redwoods that I finally got a beaver on my Ragnarok series. So now that we have the saddle in hand, we're going to go over all of the moves that the Therizinosaurus can use while we're riding it. Now it's got some different effects that happen with different moves that we use, so we'll tell you all about those in just a second, but before we do that, this guy actually has a little bit of experience so he can gain a level, and I'm going to put a stat into melee damage, which is really helpful for a Therizinosaurus, because it increases the damage it does against dinosaurs if you use it for combat, and it also increases the amount you harvest. Now if we hit the right trigger, it does this claw swiping attack, which is its primary attack for doing damage. The left trigger does this little tickle animation, and that's a delicate harvesting technique which does very little damage in combat. And the right stick does this bite attack, which actually does some pretty decent damage, inflicts a tiny bit of torpor, and it can do a little bit of damage against stone structures. Very little, though. So the right trigger does nothing against bushes, but the left trigger actually harvests nothing but fiber from them, and we can get a lot of fiber that way. Now if we click down on the right stick, we'll do the bite attack, and it harvests a whole lot of berries and seeds, and it's actually great for gathering things like rare flowers and plant species X also. Now if you plan to use the Therizinosaurus for gathering bushes to get fiber, berries, and all that good stuff, you should specialize it in delicate harvesting, which will get you even more of that. That will also increase the hide, chitin, and organic polymer that you harvest from corpses. Now, power harvesting will actually get you more meat and prime meat when you use the right trigger attack to harvest corpses. And of course, the right trigger will harvest trees, and that gets you more wood and thatch if you increase power harvesting. Now, the right trigger attack will not damage any bushes, and the left trigger attack will not damage trees. So you can specialize what you want to pick up even in a big clump of stuff. So let me take this guy outside and we'll show you what we can do for actually fighting something. I guess this Listersaur will do. It's not very impressive, but it's something. So he's going pretty slowly because he's already getting pretty overweight. Now that right trigger attack does a lot of damage, and if you click down on the right stick, it will also do about that much damage. The right trigger attack will also harvest the most meat and prime meat, and clicking down on the right stick will do the bite attack, which harvests more hide and chitin from a corpse. So we'll go ahead and drop some of this stuff so we're not quite so overweight, and we're still moving kinda slow for a Therizinosaurus, but for something this big, it actually moves at a pretty decent rate. Now another interesting thing about a Therizinosaur is it's really good in combat, but it actually eats berries. Now one of the hardest things if you're breeding an army of carnivores is keeping them all fed, because you've got to constantly hunt stuff. But with a Therizinosaurus, you can have dozens of Therizinosaurs keep hatching more eggs and babies, and you can feed them with nothing but berries. So if you've got a Stegosaur or a Brontosaurus, you can feed your entire army in just seconds. Now I'm going to bring her up and park her next to my base where she's going to get the Oviraptor egg-laying boost, and she will be part of my kibble factory for the rest of the game. Her eggs are large-size eggs which can be used for exceptional kibble, and that's for taming things like T-Rexes, Brontosaurs, and the really big stuff. So she's going to be really helpful. Now I almost forgot that every time she levels up, she gains an additional point that can be specialized. So if I hold down the X button, I can give her additional harvesting and it'll show this 1 point available. And I am going to specialize her into additional delicate harvesting, and that's going to let her get more fiber and other stuff that's used for delicate harvesting. So that's most of the stuff you need to know about a Therizinosaurus. I'm sure I'll be telling you more about them as we play using this Therizinosaur, but I hope this video was really helpful. If it was, please like the video and drop a comment if you have any questions or if you have any good comments or advice about Therizinosaurus. And let me know if you use a Therizinosaur. I always love to hear about how your Ark adventures are going. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, where were you, man? Just kidding. But that would be great. It helps us out a lot. And be sure to enable notifications and it will tell you when the next great helpful Ark guide comes out. And usually the next guide comes out within a couple of days. There's so much great information I'm going to be sharing with you, and you don't want to miss out on any of it. So I hope you'll subscribe, and if you want to see more videos that I'm in, my wife and I have a new YouTube channel, and there's a link in the description where the two of us play console games together, and we would love it. It would help us out so much if you subscribe over there too. And until next time, I hope all of your Ark adventures are safe and fun. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching this video from the Ark Survival Guide. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can bring you more great guides like this one. Ark is an amazing game, but there is so much to learn before you can really enjoy it. We are dedicated to bringing you high-quality guides, tutorials, and Let's Play videos that are fun, helpful, clean, and suitable for the entire family. There's a tutorial in this series for everything we have done so far in this video. Check out these playlists for more episodes from this series and other guides to help you enjoy your journey on Ark.